Just so you know, once again, that's the Glenn we call it? Hold on a minute.
Don't miss out on the next Glennpisode.
Glennpisode. I was thinking like behind the scenes bullshit.
I love how you're making it all about me.
No, what we're trying to do.
Show, the Morgan Glenn Super Fantastic Hour. But I was thinking of some things that almost everybody I talk to or I know personally would say all bad, all bad, all bad, all bad. And me personally, Glenn Sacco, I'm like, bullshit. These things. So let me run down a list of things that I think are vital and important and mostly good that most people think are bad. Here we go. Here's the
all right. Let's hear these ones.
Here's the most controversial one. So I'll start with the worst one.
Okay.
Bullying.
Bullying. Okay. You mean, is it good or bad?
I'm saying bullying is a thing that if you ask anybody on the street, they'll say it's 100% bad, shouldn't happen. I've watched my kids in school. There's all no bullying zones, all this bullshit. And Glenn Sacco says, fuck you. Bullying probably saved my life in the real world because all the bullying I took as a youngster taught
made
me
you
to be
tougher,
quick-witted, funny, and know when to run.
Yeah. No, bullying also, I hate to say it, but from the side of the bully, which I wasn't a lot of times, but, you have to stake your claim. I mean, sometimes you got to get this shit straightened out. If you, in Havertown, there's a lot of kids. We had the Hendersons, we had the Baines, we had the Hussies. I mean, you're ripping up 20 kids. You can't have somebody.
You say the positive is just it sorts out the social hierarchy?
Yeah, within. Yeah. I mean, now some people get a little whooped up on, but this is young men have to. Well, maybe young girls too, but there comes the point where you're just putting a whoop ass on them every time, all day.
It's funny you just said young men and young women too, because I just realized that I have only experienced bullying. Now, I have been bullied. Like, as a young man, I was bullied, but only in a very male-dominated way. Yeah. And personally, I found that it was that bullying, for me it provided a lot of growth and a lot of, it gave me some skills I would have otherwise had. I do now, having daughters, though, female bullying is some vicious shit sometimes.
Yeah. One of mine got.
I took was direct. It was either like literally physical beat downs.
Yeah, one thing you could defend yourself, or
very blunt verbal attacks that weren't scathing. The stuff that I see young women do. Yeah, now I'm starting to fall back. You got me thinking maybe bullying isn't good. I'm gonna cross that off. I'm taking bullying up.
Well, I had one of my daughters. I won't say who got bullied at school, and I mean in that I thought one of her teachers fed it. She had some bug up her ass about my daughter. And then one girl started sharing some personal information that I guess the two of them had shared, and it was horrifying. And all of a sudden, you had a kid that was fucking pinned to a corner. So, Glenn, I got sometimes it's bad. I mean,
let's say this. Male bullying, good social tool. Female bullying, horrific nightmare, shouldn't be done.
That's a nice divide.
Now, the second one I love.
Now you get into
gender
the trans
stereotypes.
Now you get
I was just making that up because I just did a gender stereotype. All right, here, let me keep going down the list now. Another couple that most people, when you say these words, only have negative thoughts, but for me,
it's okay.
They can be useful. Shame and shaming. So not only feeling shame and ashamed and personal shame, but also occasionally shaming someone, as a
are they bad?
That's the thing. I think most people, if you corner them, they'd say, oh, you should never be ashamed. You shouldn't shame other people. Don't judge. No shaming, no shame. And Glenn says, shame away.
Right on.
Shame keeps me from being my worst version of myself.
Well, first off, shame as a guy, I'm going to say as a guy, sometimes you do things that are shameful. Oh. You should be shamed. And, shamed to yourself.
Sick thoughts. I have these sick thoughts, and I'm ashamed of all of them.
Oh, I mean, shame. Oh, I have thought some terrible things.
Yeah,
In fact, I would argue that between my home and the supermarket every day, some form of shame is created.
So we're in agreement.
Yes. Now,
Shame's a good one.
shaming? Okay, everything to an extreme is bad, but somebody at the office is not doing so good, you shame them.
All right, now this is one, there'll be a brief section of this one that we'll have to edit out because there's no way you'll be able to publish it, but I'm going to tell you where shaming is good. We used to have a mutual friend who was a former athlete, and when I first met him, he had become a big, fat, sloppy fuck.
Yeah, here.
And I shamed him for the better part of 6 to 9 months. Got him fit as a fiddle, back into fighting trim. Probably saved his life with my shaming. Which
are you discussing anybody that would be involved in this conversation?
No. But yes, I did actually. Now that I think about it, I've employed this shaming twice to save a friend's life.
Well, no, you told me when we were in Vietnam together, you said to me in a cab, "You're a fat fuck," and I remember probing you on that. Well, that's kind of not so nice. I mean, if you look at me, do I look fat? And you're like, yeah, you're fat fuck. And I said, well, that's kind of mean. And you said, well, listen, I'm going to make money off of you, and I don't want you fucking dropping dead. Because right now, you are fat, dangerously fat. And that was shaming I needed. You
used to do that thing where you point to some heavy-set person on the street and be like, do I look like him?
Yeah.
I remember at one point, it was uncomfortable because I'd be like, Mark, you'd have to lose 20 pounds to look like him.
To get to that guy. All right, move on to another one. What's your next one?
Yeah, we'll edit that all out because you can't
You never know. No.
All right, so bullying, good and bad. Shaming is all good. Okay, so here's another one. Low self-esteem.
Wait, where does that fall in?
A lot of people think it's bad. I have the lowest of self-esteem. And I to this day, I would argue, if I didn't think I was so worthless, I wouldn't be worth so much.
No, there's a good one. I will say, oh yeah, low self-esteem. Oh yeah. It drives
low
me.
Self-esteem,
it drives
two
me.
Thumbs up.
Oh yeah, because like low self-esteem. Like some people think, like, oh, I know this. People say, oh my God, you went to that party. You talked to everybody. At the party, everybody. And I would come back to Carolyn afterwards and go, oh my God, I'm so tired. I just went out and talked to everybody there. And she said, well, you didn't have to. Here's the thing. I did have to. Because I have to get to all 50 of those people and make them engage me and maybe laugh at me. Because if I don't talk to them, they may look askance at me. And then I think they don't like me, triggering my low self-esteem.
Yeah.
So I have to go around. I just have to go. Can't stop myself. Even when I say don't do it, I go out and talk to everybody. I mean, I know you at the dinner table, dancing around like a monkey with the cymbals.
Like a dancing monkey with the cymbals. Yeah. Look at me. I'm good. Like me.
Story upon story. They go on and on.
All right, so good. So low self-esteem, good. Shaming, good. Bullying, only 90% good. There's a 10% window of bad bullying.
That's a bad one. Low self-esteem.
What about, now this is one that I feel like helps me in life, be grateful and kind of not, I have very low expectations of what life is going to give me and the people around me. Like I don't try to go into a relationship with anyone expecting anything other than betrayal and recriminations and anger. And therefore, like when I find a friend like you who's been generous with me and kind, it's like, holy shit, I can't believe it. So then when you occasionally run a crop of me, it's almost like, I expected that. It's okay.
I'm not as bad as that. I guess that's because you're like a pussy, right? So, just in general. Maybe that's a little mean.
That's bullying, that comment. Calling me a pussy.
That does. Mm-hmm. But see, now I would say that I have a mid-range expectation. Although, as I've gotten older, I've had more people fucking lie to me, pull the rug out from under me, turn around on me, to where as time has gone on, and that's probably throughout my life, but no, as time has gone on, I've become much more cautious.
Yeah.
And that is like, people
as you've experienced it.
Or like the people in business will go, no, Mark, you don't understand. This is a knock dead. This is the one you have to do. I mean, let me tell you what, you got to get in on it. You got to get in on it. And I've thought at times, he's probably right. It does sound really good. And then I thought to myself, I says to myself, Mark, well, wait a minute. Why do I think that idiot across the desk is wait a minute. He doesn't have any money. He what
am I listening to him for?
I mean, well, why? Or those guys, those guys at sales calls where they have like 10 businesses. You remember those? Like, I'm doing purified water, I'm doing yogurt, I'm selling pens and pencils, I'm making a bunch of money on pet food, and then I have cat food, and I'm also running a new pet coffee line. And you're like, oh my God, I spent my whole fucking life selling just bags, and that was hard. Are they really smart enough to do all 10 of those things?
So what they're doing is they can be mediocre to below average in a dozen things and make almost enough money to survive. Whereas a guy who's good to really good at just one or two things, that type of thing.
Or you go in on the guy or gal, and you go into their office, and it looks like a shit show. The office looks like a shit show. The plant looks like a shit show. And you go upstairs, and they are talking about how much fucking money they make. And, you look around like, oh, yeah, I'm kicking ass. Getting into new markets, rocking and rolling. We're going to be growing like a weed. And I sit there, I think, why does your office smell like that disgusting plant out there? Why? The paper's everywhere.
You do that thing. You open their top desk drawer. That's how you used to judge the measure of a man. You look in his top desk drawer, and it was just a mess.
Exactly. Or the people who just come into a meeting, and you'll say, "Hey, so let's talk about this," and they're just rifling through paper. There's nothing alphabetized. There's nothing date. It's just a shit show. Now I have one. I want to throw back one. I was looking at some sales stuff recently. Right, so these guys, sales blogs, because podcasts. I'm trying to get onto some sales podcasts, and I'm looking through. So one of them is, let me just see this guy. I love it because his statement is just really good. Where is he here? Okay, here we go. Let's just get up here. Why you suck at prospecting and what to do about it.
That'll get you. That'll grab you, man. That's a good title.
But I'm like, well, if you suck at how do you get on a podcast and talk about, basically, there's not a lot to talk about. You either suck or, it's like, how do you...
Well, but isn't he going to talk about, because you told me why everybody sucks at prospecting, because it's the shittiest, most difficult, most anxiety-producing part of sales, so you avoid it.
Yeah,
constantly. Isn't that what he's going to talk about? Just the mental game of making yourself go through the process? You think this guy really has a fucking secret sauce where instead of for every 100 calls you get 10 yeses, this asshole's going to get you 50? I think he's just going to say the thing that we already know, which is, listen, it's the thing you don't want to do. It's the most important thing. And all you got to do is every day you carve out 1 to 2 hours where you're just doing it. It's like doing your push-ups. It's like flossing your teeth. It's like eating your vegetables. I
agree with that. I agree with that. But I just was thinking there was I always think those guys got the miracle cure. Like,
No. They want you to think they had the miracle cure. So you spend $9.99. But I don't think if someone has found the prospecting miracle cure, that guy's pretty rich right now.
Okay, here's another one. Okay. Robert, what the hell's his name? Cialdini. Mm-hmm. 7 techniques to influence anyone of anything. Anyone of anything.
So these are different techniques that you apply to different situations to get the sale, get the date.
Yep.
Whatever.
Let's say you walk in there and the guy says, you say, do you sell, do you do anything with bags? No. Oh, nothing? No. Well, you know what? You should. But I don't use them.
That's not one of the techniques, I don't think. I think that's a bad thing. You don't use my product? You should.
Or the other one is, so you buy John's bags. You don't have one. You bought those. Well, a couple of people happened in the past. You're fucking bankrupt. They used the bag. Shit fell out of it, and they're bankrupt now. So wait, you're using
correlative or causal?
But I love that. Price drop. You come in. I'm a dime. Guy says I'm 6 cents. Why don't you convince them? The only way to convince them is to drop to 7 cents if you're lucky. And you try.
Probably more like 5.
Yeah. You got to get underneath them. So let's just click through some more ones because I love these ones.
So you didn't actually go to any of these websites. You just found these titles and they grabbed you.
Yeah, here goes another one. Ryan Holiday. Competition is for losers.
Wait, Ryan Holiday. I know that guy.
Oh shit.
That guy. And listen, if it's the same Ryan Holiday I'm thinking of, he's this big Marcus Aurelius Stoicism guy on YouTube. I'm being serious.
But you mean to tell me the guy, competition is for losers. Invent your own category. So,
maybe it's not the same guy. I'm going to look up while you...
Yeah. So I'm thinking here...
Tell me what your impressions were.
Let's say we sell bags, which we did for years. And we go, wow, there's 3 other people who sell bags, Glenn. You know what we're going to do? We're going to start our own category. What's that? Hand wash. We're going to go into our own category. Then you think, shit, there's a lot of hand wash people out there. Then you go, oil painting done only by us. Right? There's no competition.
Yeah, this is the guy. The same guy. Competition's for losers. Ryan Holiday. You should look. You'd actually like this guy.
But why is he saying competition is for losers?
Have you ever read the book Blue Oceans?
Yeah. Wait, was that the one that...
It's like basically a sales book, but it's like green. Now the term nowadays, this book's from like 15, 20 years ago. Now they call it green fields. It's
okay, yeah.
You go to the place where the competition isn't. But I always love this book, Blue Oceans. I read it, and it is a compelling idea of, finding the area where no one else is focusing.
No shit.
But the example they used in this book was Cirque du Soleil. That was their great success story. And I thought to myself, so literally one of the most unique, creative things out there that, by the way, also has to utilize this part of the population. Like, if you ever see the people who are the performers, they're these gymnasts and athletes and dancers who can hang from a ribbon by one hand while they play the violin with their fucking feet.
And willing to make no money.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so this is the one example you can find a blue. You know what? Find me a Blue Ocean hot dog. That's a blue. If you can find a Blue Ocean for hot dogs or hamburgers, then I'll be impressed. If the only Blue Ocean is being so brilliant, you can come up with fucking Cirque du Soleil. I can't make it work.
Let's say this: Microsoft had a Blue Ocean. Okay, they did. Let's say Amazon had a Blue Ocean.
Apple with the iPod. Blue Ocean.
Okay, Blue Ocean, right? I mean, we got a lot of them, Glenn. Dell Computers.
But I'm too dumb to make up a Blue. I can't do that. I need dumb guy Ocean. What's a thing? Help me differentiate myself selling bags. Anyway.
Well, you know what? I'm inclined to say, I'm not so smart. Let's go where people we know are selling a lot of shit. And so try to get in there.
Which strikes me as a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Because there's a Blue Ocean in there.
The double Big Mac. Have you had the double Big Mac, Mark?
Wait, the double Big Mac has been something that recently came out. And you're happy as a clam.
Mark, it's the right amount of meat they should change the name to the Big Mac. This is what the Big Mac always should have been.
The Big Mac. But for a while, weren't you a big guy on the bacon, egg? Wait, no.
No, double cheeseburger.
Double cheeseburger.
The double cheeseburger is my go. Listen, first of all, we can get into McDonald's and how now the one thing I love talking to you is you're one of the few adults I talk to who openly admits regularly attending McDonald's.
I go every day.
Every day. I mean, you put me to shame. I tell people I eat there a couple of times a month, They literally look at me like I have a swastika tattoo on my forehead.
But at one point you were eating those a lot.
No, at most once a week, but more like once every other week.
Really?
Yeah, but again,
chocolate
when you compare
milkshakes
it to the rest of society, they make it sound like I'm masturbating in public, that I go to McDonald's on a regular basis.
And you know they're all lying, because let me tell you what, those McDonald's aren't suffering too much.
They're typically filled with people. There's an app. Like now when you pull up to the drive-thru, they ask you if you're a rewards member or if you're using the app. They're not creating these because they don't have a lot of demand.
Here's the other thing. They said to me, do you have the app? No. Like,
no, I don't have the app.
Why would I want to make anything faster? Or they go, hey, how about this? You can buy an extra burger. Where is that?
That I do. I buy the extra burger if they made it compelling.
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. I'm not doing that. But anyway.
But you just go for breakfast in the company. I go for the disgusting food.
Okay, listen to me. I go for breakfast. Okay, now, my daughters told me, there's a lot of debate about this. My daughters told me at Christmas, do you get the ham on the Egg McMuffin? So I get the fucking ham. What? It's an Egg McMuffin.
It comes with ham.
So the word out came, take the ham off. Why? No more ham.
Why?
I'm doing it. Every morning.
Why are you taking ham off?
It's not good for you.
Mark, I'm doubling up on my Big Mac meat. You're cutting off a slice of ham?
Yeah. Well, that's what the word out is. And I shared this with my brothers. They all said it's stupid. Everybody says it's dumb. But you know what? When you live, I can't violate this. I can't break it. I just do it.
So this was a promise you made to your daughters. Wow. They don't think much of you that's all they thought they could get. The one slice of ham.
They've given up on everything else. Every other thing, like the mac and cheese. Come on, you can't go
killing them stuff. What do you think is what's one thing we can get them to do? Can we get them to stop chewing that nicotine gum? No. Can we get them to stop drinking all those diet sodas? No shot.
No.
How about?
Hold on. I want to go back to my thing. I want to go back to my stupid shit the guy says. Okay, here was another one. You are badass at making money.
That's the whole thing?
There we go. It's by Jen Sincero. You are badass at making money.
Is that like a YouTube video thumbnail or is that
it's just,
website?
No, it's podcasts. You're badass at making money.
Well, then what do we need her for? What am I even going there? That's bad marketing.
Yeah, I'm badass at making money. So I was thinking about that. I'm badass, like you, badass at. So
become a badass at making money. Well, then it's like, okay, she'll teach me how to be a badass at making money.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's where she's going with that. I mean, I'm a badass.
Learn how to make a lot of money.
No, you're a badass at making money. So that's like.
But she means badass in a good way, though, right?
Apparently, I don't think it's a bad thing. She doesn't come on and say, "Look at you, big fat with a bad ass, and you're making money."
That's the worst one of all the ones you've thrown out at me. That's the one where I'm like, I'm not open.
Here's a badass to make money. When I went out for a sales job, when I was quite a young man, I went into a company and they sold light bulbs. Right now, that's not a green pasture, or that's not.
No, but it is something somebody needs. People need them light bulbs.
So you go in, and out front, there's all like cool cars. I don't know, there's like 3 really hip cars. So you have to go up some elevator, and you go in there, and you're whatever, 26 or 27 at the time. And I go in, and sit down with me, and they're like, "So, what do you think of light bulbs?" And I'm like, well.
You should have just shocked them. You should have gone the other way. I think they're a fad.
So I'm like, what do I think of light bulbs? I don't know. And it's like, let me tell you what, there's a shitload of them. And I'm like, yeah. And I said, wow, well, what would be my territory? And he's like, you're looking at it. Just right in the room. Right in the room. The lights are on. Yeah, the light's on. And then I said, well, wow, that's pretty interesting. Where would you start? How about your parents' house?
Oh, boy.
They're just up and down the street. Imagine all the fucking light bulbs right there.
So this was a door-to-door light bulb salesman.
You find your market. You have to go out there and find a green pasture. Fine. You know what I found?
You want a blue ocean in light bulbs? The under 20 watt crowd. You want to find these light sensitive folks. That's a fine window.
I had a different pitch. Dark places. That was my take.
Alaska, 4 months of the year.
Dark places. Did you see that thing about the NFL coming out? He sent it to you, telling the refs to NBA, telling the refs to start tightening up on the fouls. Yeah, they said dudes are scoring too much. Let's tighten up on the fouls.
Wait. If they say dudes are scoring too much, or they say, hey, we notice you guys are letting a lot of fouls go by. Get better at doing your job. I feel like you might be reworking it a little to fit your narrative. What they said is,
maybe they said what you said. Maybe. But here's what the fuck I'm saying is that shit's fixed. Because all of a sudden they go, oh, the good guy's scoring too much. But your point was they would never make it. Take this to the next line. If they can make that statement, why can't they make the statement just a little lower without anybody knowing? Such as, hey guys, we're calling that game a little too tight. Why don't we call it a little tighter when Joe's up by 20? No, that's what we're going to do. We want these to be much more entertaining games as we move into the fourth period. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Wait a minute. You don't need a wink, wink, nod, nod after that sentence. That sentence is the crime, and no one's ever said it.
How about the guy from O'Hara?
He was paid. That was illegal gambling. He was paid off to ref games in a certain way by gamblers. I think he was also gambling, but there was no one in the league office having the conversation you just went through.
No, if you saw, I think they had a documentary on that guy.
Yeah, like an ESPN 30 to 30.
Being from Delaware County, there was a crowd within Delaware County who was not exactly the sharpest pencils. And the guys who were setting those bets with him, if you listen to them, dumb as a rock, all of them. The three would get together and they'd do it at a bar and, people could hear them. But that's where Brian McCarthy went.
We can't use names on this pod. Now we got to edit that out.
No, Cardinal O'Hara.
You're insinuating that BMAC is fixing NBA games from his perch in the packaging industry, which makes no sense.
One last thing, the NFL draft. Let's play this. Here's what I've been thinking about the other night.
The Giants took a wide receiver. They're going to stick with that shitty quarterback. What are you
going to do now? Here, let's pretend this. You have the pick. First pick of the second round, okay?
Yeah.
Now, in the first round, you get 10 minutes to decide. In the second round, you only get 7 right away. So let's say you're thinking, I think I'm going to take Joey, right? Uh-huh. Joey gets taken at the end of the first round. So now that guy tricked you. So now what you say is, I'm going to move back to the 26th, right? So that guy moves to the 21st because he's got that, or whatever the fuck it is. He's first up in the second round. So you're waiting around for your guy that you want. But instead of taking the guy that you want, you trick the guy behind you and you take a different guy.
How do you trick them?
What do you mean? You tell them, you're like, oh, dude, I'm going to take, Ryan. And they're all like,
you lie to the guy behind you and then you take somebody else.
Yeah. Just because you're screwing him. Because now, as you move in on the third round.
Do you know who that guy wants?
Yeah, you're dicking him over. You're dicking him over. So imagine all the complexity that these people have to go through, Glenn, in the war room. Then when you get to the end of the second round, the amount of time you get drops down to 4 minutes. Now imagine the heat on you. By now, if you get into the first or the third round and you don't have a decision who you want, I'm going to call you stupid stay. But now let's play this out again. The guy at the end of the second round picks the guy you want.
Can't you just 2 weeks before the draft, make a list of your top 100 choices, and then you cross them off as they get drafted. And when it gets to your turn, whoever the highest guy is on your list, you draft him.
Unless the guy behind you jumps in and takes it. And the next guy...
How can he jump in and take it?
Because he trades up.
But then you cross that guy off and you just draft the guy below him.
You don't know that because you might have slotted in on the 26 and you need an offensive guard.
No,
now your offensive guard's taken.
My system works completely.
No, it doesn't.
Just your top 100 picks, or however, your top 200 picks. And then, he's gone. All right, we'll pick this guy.
But then why do they say these guys spend? Why do they say these guys spend so much time in a war room? They need 10 minutes in between.
Why did I tell you it took me months and months to do forecasting when it took me 4 or 5 hours? Because I got to justify my job and my exorbitant salary.
That's a good point. That's right. Why did I take my salary up so much and not tell you?
Because you were the boss, and I would have done the same.
Other than when I famously sent out everybody's the income for everybody, I didn't wipe out.
You didn't do that. You didn't send it to one of your employees sent it to everybody. You sent it in a very small meeting where you and I knew everyone's salary, and the third person in the meeting we were trying to keep our salaries hidden.
Oh, that was a disaster.
There were 2 columns.
Oh, my God.
You blanked out the one, but 2 columns over, the same numbers were there.
Damn it. And with that, we're going to leave. That's why we're on the we're moving on to 751 Glennpisode.
Thank you for joining us for the Mark and Glenn Super Fantastic Hour. This has been great.
Thank you for listening to The Mark Howley Show. If you found this story as intriguing as we did, give us a like, share the episode, and subscribe at The Mark Howley Show. New episodes every other Friday. Adios.